the most difficult step to doing a workout is the step out the door. And once the step out the door has been made, the rest of them get easier and easier. And that's one thing with ski and tea. When you know there are people waiting for you, you're going to take that step out the door. And I never left ski and tea wishing I hadn't gone.
Welcome to the Birch Legacies podcast. We are sharing stories celebrating the motivation, the perseverance, and the lifestyle choices necessary to reach the status of Birchlegger. That is, skiers who have completed 20 or more Birkies, Korteloppets, or a combination of both. We would love to hear from Birchleggers young and old who have a story to tell about what keeps them coming back year after year. Information about appearing on this podcast is in the podcast notes. Hi folks, welcome back to Birch Legacies, and I've got a special treat for you. It's actually part one of two planned recordings of a group of women from the area or from who gather in the area to ski the Birkie and do all kinds of things related to the Birkebeiner. They're called the Ski and Tea Women's Group. And one of their members, Nancy Bauer, was on a previous recording, and you can hear more about her. But she's in this group today, as are some other women. And I would love to have you introduce yourselves, maybe go around the room and tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a little intro.
My name is Sue Scheer, and I have been in ski and tea almost from its inception. I've skied 33 Birkebeiners and 3 Korteloppets, and my husband has skied more than I have, and my mom skied 20 of them. She did her last one when she was 79.
Oh, wow.
And so the Birkie is really in our blood. We live close to the Birkie Trail, and it's just been a wonderful part of our lifestyle and is central to how we manage our years and our days. And so just having that lifestyle is important for us. And ski and tea really helps keep me going in the times when there isn't snow on the ground.
Yeah.
We should be, they say that cross-country skiers are made in the summer, and it's easy to go out there and ski and be excited about skiing. But when you're alone and trying to get excited about it in the summer, it's a little more difficult. But ski and tea, this group of women who feel the same way that I do about an active lifestyle, to be able to meet once a week really keeps me going.
Oh, that's wonderful. Cool. Well, welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
Who's up?
Hi, I'm Connie Meek. I've done 40 Birkies and 2 Korteloppets, and I live in Hayward, a mile and a half from the Double O trailhead, and that's not by coincidence. That was intentional.
Yeah.
Again, the Birkie has just been a really extremely special part of my life. And ski and tea, I've been with them basically from the beginning. The comradeship, the support when you need it, sharing all sorts of things, coaching. It's all been an unbelievable group of people that I just dearly love.
There's kind of a theme running through the group, you'd think, by proximity. But let's go to Alyson, because I know she's got a different answer about this.
Yes, hello, I'm Alyson Chapman. I am actually living in upstate New York in a little town called Saratoga Springs because my husband works here. We've been living here for 7 years. However, we have a cabin also about a mile and a half. We're in the same road as Connie, a few driveways down. And we have a link in this group because we actually bought a Fred Scheer log cabin. So we're linked with Sue through that.
Okay.
And the reason because we have that cabin is the Birkebeiner. My husband and I love to ski. And we were living in Appleton, Wisconsin. We didn't have very much snow, so we were having to go further and further to find snow. And we ended up staying at Telemark Lodge for numerous visits. And one year, I decided I needed to go and see if there might be a place that we could purchase, a small place. And we were lucky enough to get in before everybody else wanted to move up here, all those ski bums.
Yeah.
So this will be our retirement home. So we do go and live in our cabin year round. So we have been all parts of the year, which is why I'm involved in ski and tea, because they're a fantastic group of support, whether we're near and far, through emails, through meeting, just knowing people and having that friendship.
Sure.
Ski and Tea also have a structured coaching workout ethic, and we know ahead of time what we're going to be doing.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I can mimic that when I'm a long way from my cabin home.
Yeah, you need a Ski and Tea East or something, huh?
Yes.
Cool. So, what is how you're doing the Birkie? Did you do the Birkie this year?
Oh, sorry, I've done the Birkebeiner 32 times.
Yeah, so that is kind of part of it. And so when you are doing this, you get back to the Hayward area at various times, and so you get to reconnect with these folks, and
absolutely all times of the year. Yes.
Great. And Nancy, folks have been regular listeners to our podcast. They've heard from you, but let's remind them what your context is and what you've been doing.
I think I listened to one of your other podcasts with the two friends who had the river running through their lives.
Yep.
And I thought that was so perfect description of how the Birkebeiner fits our whole scheme of how we organize. I came to Ski and Tea like Connie and Sue, maybe the second meeting. And it started out with, I think there might have been 6 of us, and we called ourselves Ski and Tea because we would ski and then go to tea afterwards and talk about various aspects of training, because it was meant to be a training group.
Mm-hmm.
And we would talk about clothing, we talked about nutrition and so on. And eventually we exhausted all those topics. So it's become more that the tea is the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so many women have been attracted to our group because of, like Connie said, the camaraderie and the support, and the coaching is incredible. It helps people go from, I never thought I could be an athlete, to signing up for a race, and what that does for their whole mental outlook on life. And wouldn't trade that for the world.
One of the things that I had been doing was triathlons in the summer. And I thought, well, I'm going to make a triathlon fun one for Ski and Tea for one of our Friday workouts. And that was several years ago. And now we must have about 8 different members who are doing triathlons.
Wow.
So it's been fun to see that catch on.
So do you have a kind of a go-to coach, or do you have people within your group that are experienced in coaching and leading the group? It sounds like, Connie, you were a bit of a leader in the triathlon area, but who's your ski coach? And maybe other than Connie, who else is doing that?
All of us that you're talking to help coach. I have the designation of being the head coach, but it doesn't mean that I know more. I think we've got a great reservoir of talent in our group.
A deep bench. And
and work well together. What we have to decide who's doing skating and who's doing classic skiing. But we found recently getting into small groups is the best way to reach and make a significant way to help our members.
And one thing in the off season is not only have a deep bench, but we have a broad bench. We have some gals who are good at pickleball. And so once a summer, we go do pickleball, and people who want to learn more about it do that. And sometimes we have people who are very good at yoga and can teach yoga or stretching or different things. So it's not just that we have a lot of people who can coach skiing, but we have people who can coach a broad array of activities. So that's what makes it really special. And we don't get kind of bogged down in doing the same old week after week.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a really exciting part. I think that's why a lot of our members feel that Ski and Tea is their club. They have a stake in it, and they have a stake in the success of it. And we learn more about what we're doing when we have to teach it. So it makes the coaches better, and it makes all of our participants stronger as well.
John, there is a group of women in the club, Nancy, Connie, I'm not sure if Sue is too, who are the lead coaches, and they get together once a year and set up a rough schedule of who's going to be the head coach for that Friday.
Okay.
So it's never the same person time and time again. So the duties are split and essentially work through the year. So that we're always having something a little fresh every Friday. And as Sue said, during the summer, it could be pickleball. We may be doing strength training circuits up at Double O. We may be doing trail hiking or running. We have mountain biking, all sorts of things, the triathlon, etc.
That's cool. So it's really just a big, and is it fairly, would you say it's fairly a flat administration? In other words, there's not somebody that's the president, so to speak, of the group?
Going back, have you talked about Linda Cook?
No.
There was a woman who really kind of got the whole thing rolling. Her name was Linda Cook, and she has moved out of the area, but she would set up the workouts. She would organize the coaches. She would write the newsletter, take pictures of everything, and she did it all. And when she was getting ready to leave the area, she wanted to make sure that the club was in good hands. And so we took a divide and conquer approach to keeping it going, because we all felt it was such an important part of our lives. So now I'm one of the newsletter editors, for example, and there are 3 of us who do the newsletter, where Linda used to do all of that herself. Connie has been the treasurer and keeps membership rolling, and Nancy is really our head coach, and then now Cindy Conger kind of organizes it in the big picture.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really interesting. So it's how do you join the group? How is it, just through word of mouth, or how do you end up getting into the group?
Word of mouth.
Okay.
And I met someone yesterday at Double O, and she was skiing, a little bit hesitant about her ability. And I said, they just moved to the area within the last 6 months. So I said, have you heard about Ski and Tea? And she said, yeah, I think I have. And so I did everything I could to encourage her. She was still hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
But it's word of mouth, and they can come the first time and try it. And then we do have a membership. It's $45, correct, Connie?
Yep.
Yeah, a membership for the year. A lot of times we bring our friends and they like it, or we have out of town guests. Sue, could you name how many people receive the newsletter? Because I think that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, we have almost 400 people on our newsletter list.
Wow.
So there are women who might be interested in what we're doing, but they're not ready to join. They can't because of their schedule, but maybe they live in the area. Others who don't live in the area, who want to get the newsletter and still feel connected. So Connie, what is our membership right now?
It's a little less than 100.
Yeah, so 100 members, but 400 who get our newsletter.
Okay.
So they are still Ski and Tea sisters, even though they're not members of the club itself, but they're part of the sisterhood. We do have an email address that's skiandtea@gmail.com. And then if somebody wants to get on our newsletter list, we don't ask for anything. We just, people can get on the list, and former members who may have lived in the area before and have moved away, they stay connected to us through the newsletter. And like I said, other people who are just interested can certainly get on our email or on our newsletter list.
What would you say the kind of spread of competitive nature, shall we say, in your group? I mean, I know you've got some people that intend to ski fast and are pushing themselves to be like one of the better skiers. As you age, of course, we all kind of change our priorities. But some people are just definitely wired for speed or want to be fast. And how many are just like that person you met, Nancy, at the trail the other day, that are really just trying to improve their basic skills so that they're safe and enjoying themselves?
I don't know what the breakdown is, but 0 to 100, where we do have the full range.
Mm-hmm. It feels like you're very welcoming to all. I mean, it wouldn't be like that person who's very competitive is still going to chat with the person who's learning.
We have people who have just learnt to put skis on. We have people who maybe have come to a Women on Snow clinic that Riverbrook and Gear West hold at the beginning of December and hear about us through there and then continue their journey. And as Sue said, we have people all the way up to the Elite Wave.
Anything else you want to talk about the ski and tee, just jump in and throw it in there. But I also kind of like to hear your individual stories around the Birkie itself. Maybe share anything like, do you remember your first Birkie kind of thing, or any of those kind of stories?
Well, the first Birkie was 1990. Howling winds. We started on Hayward golf course. Dreadful.
I remember that
skiing
one.
on very bad skis. I really hadn't learnt to ski that long before. And I made it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also got the Birkie fever.
Yeah.
So
you must have done almost every one since then, because you said you were at 32, and that's that's only 36 years or so. So that's good.
I had a couple of kids, couple of cancellations of the Birkie, and I think one time we were in England during that period.
Can I just ask, your accent sounds like you are
I'm English.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just follow that up, Alyson. So when did you learn to ski then?
I put skis on when we first came to America. So I was 21, shuffling around in Ithaca, New York.
Okay.
And when we moved to Wisconsin in 1989, the local rowing club that we were involved with, we asked what did they do during the winter for training, and they said cross-country ski. Mm-hmm. And so we evolved our technique from there. Cool. Went to places like Minocqua Winter Park. Dan Clausen gave us a ski lesson, and we progressed. Okay. And we've had ski lessons from different folks. And I'm very proud to say at Ski and Tea, we have people like Kim Rudd, Cindy Swift, Jan Gunther, who come in and do sessions for us. Yeah. So even this year, I'm learning more technique, better technique.
Yeah. Kim was on this podcast. Cool. And then, so how about Connie? How many, you said you've done 30 or 40 Birkies. So when did you start?
I think it was 1980. I had been skiing alpine for most of my life, but when I was in my mid-20s, I wanted to switch to cross country because alpine skiing in Wisconsin isn't all that exciting. And then I was living in Green Bay, and there was a ski club there, and we did races, like 10K races. And after a couple of years, they said, you should be doing the Birkie. So that's when I jumped in. And the first year I had homemade ski knickers that I used by cutting off some sweatpants, and, knicker socks that I found somewhere, and, mediocre equipment. Did it it was Telmark to Historyland. I just had so much fun doing that was probably one of my most favorite races. Been doing it ever since. There's been a couple of years of cancellations, a year that I was injured, a year that I was doing the Swedish Vasaloppet the following week, so I opted to do the Korte instead of the full Birkie.
Yeah, that 90K will kind of do that to you, the 90K Vasaloppet. Yeah, I need to rest a little bit. I'll just ski the Korte. And Sue, when did you start?
I got a pair of cross-country skis in 1981 from New Moon. I think it was maybe just starting the business, because with it came a free ski lesson from Steve Morales.
Yeah.
And I learned to ski out on the Hayward golf course, my one lesson. 2 months later, I did the Korteloppet, and then the next year I did the Birkie, and I didn't know what I was doing. We knew nothing about nutrition. The equipment wasn't that great. We really didn't know how to dress. The first 5 Birkies I did it classic because that's all there was. There was no such thing as skating.
Right, same here.
So it goes back that far, and I go back so far that my first starter medal has a number on it. They used to number the medals, and my number is 8333. So
yeah, people are
but-
always surprised when we say that. Of course, the first ones were all classic because we didn't have
Right.
skating. Yeah.
No. And the trail wasn't,
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. People would go up into the woods to get down the hills. And
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many, I'm sure, just so many stories. And that's why I think it's great that you have this podcast, because I don't know how many people have skied the Birkie. Maybe 30,000 people have maybe at one time or another skied the Birkie, and there are 30,000 stories. And for those 30,000 people, they each have, for me, I have 33 stories. And so there are so many stories. I mean, I think that my mom, who's 93, she is still in my life because she was a Birkie skier.
Yeah.
She got cancer and it almost killed her. And the reason it didn't is because she was a Birkie skier and she was strong physically. And so she's in my life because of the Birkie, I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
My husband's in my life because of the Birkie, because we got married later in life. We knew each other growing up. We were in the same kindergarten class, but we reconnected later in life, and we're both Birkie skiers. And so the Birkie is really important to me on a really deep level. And it's nothing about really the race. It's the whole lifestyle. And that's what's important to me. The race doesn't matter. I mean, I used to worry about my time. And the night after the race, I think about all these ways that I could have been faster. But, I think about when I was in my 30s and 40s, and we'd ask each other, what was the time? What time did you get? How fast did you go? And I don't even care anymore how fast anybody was.
Yeah.
Just, were you safe? Did you have a good time? And that's what's important to me now.
And Nancy, just let's hear from you. I know we've got another podcast about you, with you, but we should hear from you too in this group. What was your earliest one?
Oh, you're asking me to remember when I had notes last time. That's not fair. I'm not very good at timelines. What I wanted to share was that I went online and you could get results, and it was basically who's the sponsor that year.
Yeah.
And I looked through the results, and within 1 minute was Connie Meek, me, and Abet Ix, who's not able to join us. And we didn't even know each other then. And here we became ski and team members. I wanted to share a story of somebody who didn't think she had any stories. And I said, oh, no, you do. So hopefully it's okay that I share her story. Alyson Slavik was feeling so clever that she put her shot blocks, strung them through a string and hung them around her neck so she could just eat them as she needed. It'd be hands-free, just reach down and bite off the shot block. Well, she has long hair, and it got tangled up in her hair because either she was sweating or it was snowing. And Connie's laughing because I think you remember that story. It was the most hilarious thing, but not for her.
No. So her shot blocks got wet enough that it tangled her hair all up?
It tangled her hair. It was impossible.
Yeah. I took out a crown of the shot block one Birkie. Crown came right out, so I had to tuck it into my shorts, and then, at the end of the race, dig it out and find it and give it to the dentist.
Yeah. I guess what I remember about my first Birkie is being amazed that it was 7 tracks across. And I had never skied anything like that, because where I was skiing, it was a single track through the woods, and how awesome that was to go down a hill. But then when someone crashed in front of you, you had to figure out how you were going to dodge them and get in the next track. So it was learn as you go.
Yeah. Let me ask you about your training up there. Now, do you pretty much limit yourself to the Birkie Trail itself, or do you go to some of the other local trails to do some of your skiing with the Ski and Tea group?
With Ski and Tea, we primarily ski on the Birkie Trail, either at the telemark start or at 00. Usually we're at 00, but in the off season, we go all over the place. We go to trails around the area. We go to different people's homes. We in the spring, of course, the trails are still wet, and we're trying to be good stewards of the trails, so we stay off of them when they're mushy and we're on roads. But we try to really broaden where we are doing our workouts in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
But there's such consistent snow on the Birkie Trail. The grooming is there. That's where we do our skiing.
Yeah. Do you have some groups that segments of your group that maybe train elsewhere, like maybe they live here in the cities or in La Crosse or places like that?
Definitely. One of my favorite places to ski is ABR. Of course, I'm not going to go there, real frequently, but I enjoy it, but not as for ski and tea, just on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Alyson, go
there
ahead.
are groups of women who get together.
Yeah.
So there may be 2 or 3 or 4 people who will get together after or a different time of the week.
Yeah.
And train together who would be doing Birkie or the Korte.
Yeah. You mentioned Fridays earlier. Is that kind of the given day for the main group? Okay.
Friday at 8:45 we meet, and at 9:00 we start our workout.
Okay. Good.
So everybody knows year round that's the time, and the place, like I said, can change, but we try to keep some structure so that we don't confuse people.
Yeah. Is it rain or shine?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
40 below. If there's lightning, we tend to not go out into the woods.
Okay.
But
John, I should share the day after Christmas this year. It was mighty cold.
Yeah.
There were 3 of us who showed up at Double O for ski and tea. And those 3 are on your podcast right now.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Well, the dedicated ones. Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
So in those days, do you get to the tee a little quicker, or do you have kind of stick with the plan?
We may be doing an extended warm up indoors.
There you go. So do you have kind of, when you do your training plan, are you pointing to the Birkie, or are you just kind of doing kind of the same training? I mean, in general, or do you kind of think of the Birkie as the pinnacle of the winter, and other events that maybe you do the trail run or the biking, the fat bike, or any of those things?
The Birkie is kind of the end point of our season, and it's what we build up to, but not that many members actually ski the Birkie. But it is the focus so that people who want to ski the Birkie can. And so that's how we do build it up to that point. And we try to hit everything skiing related prior to the Birkie.
Sure.
But some of the women do other ski races. Some don't ever race. Some members who have been in the group for 10 years or more are never going to ski the Birkie. They have no interest in skiing a big ski race. There's no judgment about that. It doesn't matter.
What other kinds of support does the group give each other? I mean, is this a group that goes out and, gathers at homes in the evening, or do you, when people go through, life-changing kinds of events and so on, is it that kind of thing where you have groups of friends within it, or support in other ways besides the athletic and activities?
There's a big social component, and I'm just going to speak to one thing. I was injured recently, and I was inundated with cards and best wishes emails from the Ski and Tea Sisterhood, and women have gone through losing a spouse. They've gone through job changes, and there's a very strong support system. Those things are more informal, but really important nonetheless. And one other thing I wanted to point out is we have a pretty strong volunteer ethic within the Ski and Tea group. So there's one chunk of time where we volunteer at the food shelf as a group. We sign up for volunteer hours for Birkie Week, for other Birkie activities, But whenever there are opportunities for volunteerism, those opportunities go into the newsletter so that our members know about it. And it's another way that we support each other. You know, if we're not racing, we're going to be volunteering.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's very fun doing all sorts. I've done mountain biking events, running events, and there's a couple of different skiing events, all associated with the Birkie. And when you have your ski and tea sister who's giving you nutritional support and emotional support, it's just so uplifting. It really is.
But that is one of the strong ethoses of the group, is no woman left behind. And we truly do that. If we're doing a workout where we're walking or running on a road, we make sure that everybody kind of finishes together. If you finish early, you go back and pick up people who are slower. And we really want everybody to feel there isn't a last person to finish something. Yeah. We all finish together, and nobody's going to be left out there. Part of that is safety, but the other, emotional safety, is as important as physical safety.
Yeah. I always like to ask people, like, what kind of advice do you have for aspiring young women, or middle-aged women or older women who would love to kind of be more fit and do more activities and just have a group of like-minded folks to hang out with? What kind of advice would you give to them for, even if they're not listening from the area? Maybe maybe they're in New York, Alyson, and what kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, I think to seek out other women. If you see people who are doing what you're doing, go talk. I think that communication is very important. I belong to a mountain biking group, and I wouldn't be involved in them if I hadn't have spoken up. So that's my little social group here in upstate New York, rather than cross-country skiing.
I'd like to just add that one of the things we do when we have our Friday workouts is we start by forming a circle, and we introduce ourselves by our first name, sometimes where we live, but we also oftentimes have a question of the day. And it'll be something, I don't know, what's your favorite color, or what do you plan to do Birkie week? Things like that make you a little more personal than if you just say, hi, I'm Connie, and go on to the next person. So it's really important that all of our members hear the names of all the rest of the members, so that, if you get there and you think, oh, what's that person's name? You have an opportunity to hear their names again.
Mm-hmm.
And the question of the day, really, they're really fun, and sometimes they're silly, but sometimes they bring out parts of a person that you just had no idea about, like, naming an inspirational woman in your life, or where you were in the birth order in your family, or, did you grow up in a town or a city or rural, questions like that they're very quick. Because sometimes we'll have 45 people and we can't spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think that those questions, that little brief part of our routine, pulls us together.
I think it's important to keep active and keep doing things as I age. Having this group to come back to on Friday, when I moved away to be with my husband in another city for health reasons, it's a grounding, it's a foundation, and so much support. So advice to another group is start small and stay active, and that will be the mutual benefit.
A general piece of advice for people doing, maybe newbies doing the Birkie or potential Birchleggers, I think, as Nancy said, is to continue to do activity through the year, to mix up your activity levels. So some days doing hard stuff, some days not so hard. Mix up whether you're doing strength work. And as we age, we all know now that is very important. Mm-hmm. We had a session on nutrition over the winter. We had a session on how important doing interval training was, so speed work, even if we're just skiing for fun, to mix things up. And then from my side of things, I've had years where with the kids, I couldn't race. So just to build up the length of time skiing. I classic ski the Birkie now, so I like to get in one 50K, at least 50K ski, or 5 hours of skiing in one shot.
Well, that is the thing. It's, the snow kind of tells you, I mean, if it's a 5-hour ski, it's a 5-hour ski, even if because the snow is slow, you didn't go as far, that's still a lot of time on snow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's good advice. Yeah. And it's been really inspiring for me to hear you share about the group and the program. I know a lot of folks are dealing, some people are, they ski by themselves, but I like what you said, Alyson. If there's someone doing what you're doing, go up and talk to them.
Fun thing today, I was skiing at Lapland Lake. I did stop and chat to 2 different gentlemen. One of them said, I've decided I'm nearly 80. I've decided next year I'm going to ski one of the Korteloppets races, which is kind of fun. His name's Joe. You may see him out there.
There you go.
Whichever country it is.
Anything else you guys want to share? Thanks for your time today. We're going to be talking to some more members of the group on another episode coming up, but anything else that you want to share before we sign off today?
We always say that the most difficult step to doing a workout is the step out the door. And once the step out the door has been made, the rest of them get easier and easier. And that's one thing with ski and tea. When you know there are people waiting for you, you're going to take that step out the door. And I never left ski and tea wishing I hadn't gone.
I'd agree with that.
So true.
Well, thanks. I really appreciate you being on here today. And I look forward to hopefully I have a chance to meet you in person at some point. Maybe Nancy, because I see you a lot. You should, if one of these folks is around, introduce me. Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be fun to say hi.
Can do.
Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for your attention to our group.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that, John.
Nice to meet you. You bet.
Bye, everybody.
Nice to see everybody.
Thanks for listening. Please check out the podcast notes to see links to the Birch Leggings Club and the Birkie website. If you've skied a combination of 20 Birkies and or Korties, I encourage you to join the Birch Leggings Club. If you'd like to tell your Birkie story, please contact me, John Peterson, at my email listed in the podcast notes or by filling out the guest application form linked there. Please subscribe to our program wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review. You can also text us directly from your phone or computer using the quick link in the notes to let us know how we are doing.